Hi, I'm Bill Wake. This is my weekly summary of what we've been doing on Twitch. We've been working on this personal finance tool for a few weeks now, and the last week or so we've been adding persistence. So we tried SwiftData. We used it a little bit last week for about a session or two, um, trying to get things pushed into a data structure or a class structure that SwiftData would work with. And then we got person working. And this week we tried to tackle the more complicated plan object that really is a hierarchical one that represents the tree of possibilities. And we fought and fought and fought. So it required changes in structures. It intermingles the database with the model a bit. It has its own bugs that got in our way. We had a place of contradictory requirements. We had a field that had to allow nulls, but the export couldn't handle that. We think that was one of those bugs. And it left things kind of unstable, partly because I was doing more of a, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't call it exactly spike, but maybe, spike and stabilize kind of thing. And we'd push through areas and, not convert previews or things like that, just to try and push forward and get the core piece working. All that was just unfortunate time. It just did not work. So maybe it works for somebody, didn't work for us. So we ripped it out and we tried a new approach. And the new approach is built on the idea of codable objects. And this is a convention in the compiler that basically primitive types like string and int and other types that you create, enums or structs or classes, as long as you make them, all their contents consist of other codable types, then everything is automatic for you. It'll generate encode and decode routines. If you don't have that met, you have some things that can't be codable, then you have to write your own encoder and decoder. Or if you, I don't know, if you want to change names and do other things, you may have to write your own encoder. But for us, most of our stuff could be codable. We had a number of simple structs that used like just ints or something. We had an enum or two. We had some classes, but everything could pretty much just be made codable. And so, given that, it is a little distortion because we're adding this codable protocol support. That we tell it that it's codable. Um, so it's a little bit there, but the actual working with it, deciding how to write these objects and all that stuff, it handles that for you. So we ended up with two functions, open and save, that we're still not quite, well, we've got something functioning, but it's not pretty yet, and we want to work on it some more. But open says I'm going to have a file that represents this type, and it's going to store it as JSON on the disk in a private area, private to the app. And so we first create the URL identifying where we're going to put it in the documents directory. And then we try and load that URL with the data command. And if that comes through, it's basically loaded that content into memory. And then JSON decoder says, okay, I've got to read whatever format it is and make sense of it and turn it into an object. And so that's line 42 there, loaded equals try decoding. And if it works, we got a loaded object. And so you notice at the top, T is a decodable object. So that's the object we're going to return. And you're going to tell the file name it's in and its type, and it'll give you back an object of the type you asked for, assuming you haven't made any mistakes in your setting up the codable and all that stuff, and the file is there and all those usual problems. But the actual work of this, I mean, there's kind of like three lines that are doing the work, and the rest is error checking and that kind of thing. So it's not too bad. We didn't have to write anything specific to our types. We have the corresponding save function. Same thing, just kind of flipped. The type has to be encodable, and we give it the file name and the object that we're going to encode. So once again, we're going to locate that document directory. We'll set up an encoder. We encode the data in 24. We turn it into writable data in 25, and then we write it out. Those options say do it all in one thread, don't let people intermix two threads writing to the same time. And complete file protection says the system encrypts it on disk, and you don't have to do anything to get that. I'm not quite sure how that part works because we were able to write the files and then look at them in the simulator. But I think that may just be a function of the simulator that normally you don't have access to different apps files, so you can't really get to it. All right, and again, we catch any error and print it. And again, I don't think this is done, but it's functioning, so we'll take it. All right, let's do a demo. Okay, we're starting from a fresh run with nothing in the app. Let's add a salary. Something respectable. All right, and we'll make $4 million plus in 30 years. All right, so I have this saved, this in my plan. And if I save it, okay, and we'll run the app again. Okay, it starts out empty and we'll do open and we've restored that stuff. Okay, so in the long run, these buttons, we don't want to have them. Our attempt with SwiftData was every time you saved or changed something, we would save it automatically. And I think we can get much the same effect. You're not talking about a whole lot of data. Even if, if I don't have 50 savings accounts or 50 any kind of accounts, and income streams and expense streams and all that, this is not thousands or millions of objects. It's dozens, not much bigger. And so writing even after every change, write the whole thing back out. It's just it's not likely to be a problem. So I think we'll be able to do that, get rid of these buttons and just make it like your app is persistent. There's nothing visible you do about it. It's not like a word processor where you want separate documents. This is just your app with its data. All right. Well, it was a rough week just fooling around with SwiftData all week and, stumbling and try this and look up and see if it's a bug or a behavior or you've missed something. The file writing one we finished in, I don't know, just over an hour, I think, after 7 or 10 hours of pain. So we'll go forward with that. All right. Well, next week I'm on vacation, so I won't be here for our sessions, but I will be back July 1st. And once I am back, Monday through Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. If you go to xp123.com/Twitch, you get the live sessions, or 123.com/YouTube, you get the previous sessions about 2, maybe 3 weeks ahead of or behind us and lightly edited. So I hope you can join us sometime. And I'm looking forward to working on some features that are much less pain and configuration oriented like the SwiftData was. Take care.